Morning and welcome back to another Marketing Monday. So today I'm going to be talking a bit about heat maps and click maps and how they are then used to try and figure out some things about your site, and then from there to move on to either change some things or to test some things. So first of all, what is a heat map and a click map? Well, basically the areas that people use, the more people use, are highlighted in a red, and then the least areas that people use are in blue. So there's like obviously the heat map sort of side of things. So if you think about it in terms of your website, the top of your website will always be on a heat map red, and at the bottom will always be blue, because everyone sees the top bit but not everyone really sees the bottom bit. So as you scroll down, the colour will change depending on how far your users will get to the page. So if everyone's getting halfway down, the middle of the page should be yellow, or if everyone's doing it, it should still be red. And obviously that goes all the way down to blue. And then a click map is the areas that people are clicking become more red, and obviously then places that people aren't clicking aren't red. It's handy for a couple of reasons. We'll go through in a second. We'll go back to the heat maps quickly now. So with a heat map, basically the whole point of trying to figure out where people are scrolling down to the page is because you want to see how much of your content is effective, and if you're saying that certain content is important and it's not being seen much, is it that important, or does that mean that your page needs to be reconfigured and redone to try and figure out how to get your content maximized in the areas people are scrolling in? So on a shopping site, for instance, a lot of companies end up going with like a really large banner at the top, a nice carousel, and they put too many carousels on, and they're saying the carousel is really important, but then the content underneath is also really important. But then when you look at the heat maps, and then they're like, these are bits down here that segues to get to maybe genders, or maybe to certain categories, or a competition page or whatever, or even like an email sign up. No one's getting to there. So it's a case of figuring out, well, why is that? Why is everyone not scrolling past here, or is that information really that important? And then how can we reconfigure the site to get everything we want? Maybe you get like a mini carousel. So I've seen a couple of recently on sites where they've got like a full width design, and then they do like a half page carousel, and then they start stacking content next to it. And I thought that's a really cool idea, because they're getting there. A lot of the times with the carousels, it's usually a management that say we need that because we need to be able to get our message across, all these messages across. I don't think they're effective, and then a lot of stats also agree that they're not that effective. But they're a nice simple way of being able to do a solution to a problem that is a bit more in depth than the actual solution. So you've got your carousel, that's got them happy, but at the same time it means you can start bringing up other content next to it that's going to be hopefully more beneficial to you, the company, to how you'll be able to push it forward. Or it might be that you take out the carousel completely and move all your content up and start just putting in more relevant information for the user. And it's just a case of then that heat maps helps guiding decisions on things to test, on things to change. It's not 100% accurate, so you have to remember, because it's done on an average. So it's not going to be 100% perfect. It's not going to be. It's not going to tell you the full story. It's just going to give you a part of the story to see where issues are, which is why you tend to tie this in, and with click maps as well, to see where users are clicking, what sort of things that can you expect to see from it. So if you're trying to make sure that people are clicking through on your header navigation and there's certain areas you want them to, then great. Or you might find that people aren't clicking on certain areas and they're going to other areas that you're not focusing on, but they're going there. There's a lot of people going there anyway, so you might think about because you found that out through the click map, to then refocus and do something on that page to help bring them back into a channel that you want to send them down. So this might be, for instance, on your shop, you might have like an About Us page, and you might think, I'm just going to put some general information or quick information about us so you can find out who we are very quickly, very briefly. But you're finding you get a lot of traffic to it. Because you're finding you get a lot of traffic to it, you then might think, okay, well, how can we use the About Us page then to move people back into a sales funnel? So it might be that you then put them into on for instance, a mechanic site, or another service site, that you then send them from in your About Us page, obviously, rather than just telling them who you are, tell them that you're the solution that they're looking for also in that. Like, change the language that's used in it to more reflect about your service you're trying to get across. And then maybe halfway down the page, start showing off a bit of the work you've done, and because it's still about you. You know, this is the work we've done, and then maybe send them through to the case study pages or services pages, and trying to get them back into areas that you're hoping to try and convert people into customers and sales. And if it's on our shopping site, so you've got an About Us page that's doing exactly the same, maybe, you know, through the page you can put, do you like what you see? Maybe take a look at our shop, and then just start trying to get people back into that funnel, the shopping funnel, and get that sales funnel actually down. But they, like I said, they work well together, and then they work really well with analytics on top of that. So you can find out where people are clicking, where people are scrolling, and then see how many people are doing it, and then find out all the information you can to then hopefully make decisions that are gonna either boost how your site's performing, or you can, you know, or the big thing is to remember is I would test a lot of this as well. I want to make a big change. Well, we want to make a change for the positive. To make that change to the positive, if we test it, we're going to find out whether it is a positive test or whether it's going to affect our website badly. I definitely think that's a good thing. One thing to mention on ClickOnes that I quickly forgot is you can also find out where people are clicking that they may think is a button that's not a button. So you may find, for instance, that they'll see an image that's not a link, and they'll be clicking it, and then that way you can think, okay, so customers are clearly thinking that this image is going to click through to whatever the image is or whatever the title is around the area, and it kind of might help your user flow a bit better then, because you think, right, well, let's just wrap that in the link of the context of whatever the area is. So there's other little things to that to think about as well. So that's it for Marketing Man today. We're going to get the blog out later on this week. Hopefully we've got a couple of mini series that we've got chopped up. They're halfway through being made. What we're going to do is going to release them at once, all on YouTube. And then what we'll do is we'll tell you all about it on Facebook and Twitter and everything else, and you can just follow it through and then have a look. It's going to be about rebranding, and then using the conversion rate optimization ideas and testing, and adding that all together to try and figure out what's the best way forward is in terms of, one, your rebrand, and two, hopefully trying to give you a much better converting website. Well, that's it for today, and have a great week. Thanks, bye.